excited that you're tuning in today. Today, we're going to talk about relationship skills every feminine woman needs to know and needs to have. This is video number 2 of the series, What I Learned in My 10 Months of Leadership College. If you haven't seen the first video, then you can check out the playlist. It is called What I Learned in 10 Months of Leadership College because I have been the last 10 months on a leadership college and it was so valuable. I learned so much. We had classes such as leadership, identity, preaching, kind of like public speaking, like relationships and biblical topics and so much more. And it was so extremely valuable that I just wanted to create the series and share all my knowledge and all the experiences that I had in my own life that shaped me so much and definitely made me a different woman, definitely leveled me up and just upgraded my life experience in total. And a very important thing was my relationship skills. So that's why this second video is wholly dedicated to relationships. The other video was just a more general overview, and I'm gonna go deeper into things like energy management and leadership and self-leadership and time management and finances in different videos. And this is just gonna be about relationships. So when I started going to this college, I was in this room with all these people, and my fight or flight was so hardly activated. I wanted to run, and I found myself even like a few times leaving the classroom and having to cry so hard because I was so overwhelmed with them being so close. And I was actually a little bit like shocked that I still have this reaction because I already did a lot of inner work and a lot of healing. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I was so scared of intimacy, but I didn't know it. So in my teens, I started to feel extreme anxiety. And before I didn't really feel it. But since I was in boarding school when I was 16, I was really numb and I just knew that I was really fixated on like learning stuff for my future, and I was very stiff, but I was also extremely highly dedicated and extremely disciplined. So I was very well in my masculine energy, but I was learning constantly because I knew I need to be successful in order to get out of these life circumstances that God placed me in for whatever reason. That I was born in and that I didn't like and I didn't feel safe and I didn't feel secure. So at the end of my boarding school year, I had a conversation with somebody, because I was extremely sad that another person just left without saying something, and it was like the last week and I was really sad. And I talked to this one person and I started to cry, and I cried for like 3 or 4 hours, like really insanely crying. And this is the first time that I emotionally really, really opened up. And I wasn't used to it. So in my family, we didn't talk about feelings. It was not something that was normal, that was used to. So I never shared my feelings. I felt them, but I never talked about them. And maybe I talked with my best girlfriends. I talked about things, and I probably also shared feelings, but not in a really vulnerable way. So that was the first time that all these emotions were coming up. And from that point on, I was not numb anymore. So my body was not numb anymore. Before it was, I felt anxiety, I felt fear, I felt sadness, but it was not so extreme. And it was handled, like I could handle it. But from that moment on, I started to cry so much and had like panic attacks and everything. And I didn't have that before. And it was so crazy because my body released so much emotions in a short period of time. It was insane. And I didn't know how to handle it, because you need to know, like, Nobody shares feelings in your family. Nobody like shows you how to handle your feelings, and then you have so much of them, and I was like extremely overwhelmed. So as I said, it was the last like week or last 2 weeks of boarding school. So I didn't have all my friends that I made in boarding school to support me or like the teachers. I was just back home, and obviously like a year abroad shapes you, um, like you develop faster maybe than your peers, or not faster but just in different ways. And I didn't feel as connected to the people before anymore, but also I didn't have too many connections, to be honest. I always had my best friends, but even in my teenage years I was so focused on like surviving and like working and studying because I wanted to get a better future, that I really did not give a lot of time to my friends or like peers, and therefore didn't develop like really deep intimate relationships. And so I was like, okay, I don't have access to the people I had before really. But also even there boarding school, I have to be honest, I was 90% in my room and like doing online courses around business and studying and reading books and doing fitness. I did have friends, but even there I was really not connecting with people on a deeper level. Like my teacher had to force me to like hang out with like my class, because when we had like group gatherings I didn't want her to come because I said I have to be in bed at 9 so I can wake up the next morning. And she really forced me, and I love her for that, but it was really tough. um, and so I had all these emotions coming up, and I didn't know how to handle them, but then I had to handle them. And it's a very long story, and maybe I'm going into depth in like another time. But afterwards, so many things happened, but all these blocked emotions. And that's why you always hear me talking about blocked emotions. It's not because I randomly read about it in a book, it's because I have experienced it so extremely intensely. You cannot even know. People were so shocked when they saw me crying like that. People like literally even called the ambulance because I cried so hard that they were scared. It was just all of these emotions came out of my body, and it was just so extremely. It was a lot. It was a lot. And I really had to learn how to self-soothe and how to self-regulate it, because nobody around me could handle these big emotions, and nobody was available for me to actually really co-regulate on a regular basis. Also, the teachers in school, like I had to leave classes when I was back in Germany and back in school. I had to leave the classroom for 2 hours because I had to cry so intensely, and obviously, like nobody was available to soothe me that much. They were maybe like, okay, yeah, for like 2 minutes, and then they're like, sorry, I'm busy, I have to go. Which was very like painful for me at the time. But rationally, I can understand they don't have the capacity for it. But it was really, yeah, it was really intense. And so I already had like 3 years, 3 years of really intense inner work, and like um, a lot of things that were released and that were already healed. Um, but when I came there, I still had this reaction. So I was like, interesting. And then the best part is all of them were so incredible nice. Like they're one of the nicest and loving and most open people I've ever experienced in my life. And basically everything I always really desired and that wasn't available, or wasn't available when I grew up. So it was so overwhelming. It was so beautiful, but my body couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. So everybody was like hugging each other, and I was like, okay. And that was what I always really wanted, but I couldn't handle it. And that's why inner work is so important, because so often the thing we want is available, but we don't have the capacity to fully handle it because our nervous system isn't regulated enough to be able to do that. Let that sink in, and I need water. Yes, we need to be able to receive and handle whatever we want. So then I came to this college, as I said, and I didn't find an apartment yet. So, but I also couldn't go from where I was living before to the university, to the college, because it was too far away. So I asked like some of the girls if I could stay at their place for 1 week. I asked, and then I was like, maybe I'm gonna find something that fast, because I already asked so many people, and I like contacted so many people. So I was like, yeah, I don't know, probably, or it cannot be this hard to find like a room somewhere. And 1 week went over and I didn't have anything. So I asked somebody else, hey, can I stay a little bit longer? Because they didn't have too much space. So also I didn't want it to like stay too long. And I was like, oh, that's so weird. I'd ask somebody else. So I could stay there for like 1.5 weeks. And then I could stay there for 2 weeks. And then I asked somebody else. And 5 months later, I didn't have an apartment yet. And I had to live at so many people's houses that it's just insane for me. It was so much and it was so good, but it was also so exhausting. But what I learned is I had to live with these people and I could just not close the door, because I think God was just sick of me just always closing the door and like locking myself in my room. And he was like, no, 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 no. Now you don't have a room to lock anymore. So I couldn't just close the door and be on my own, because literally I didn't have a room to be on my own. Thankfully, the people were so kind to share their room, their house with me. But I didn't have a room on my own. So that really put me in a panic state, because I subconsciously saw people immensely as a threat because of things that happened to me, like happened in my childhood. So I was now living with my danger and sleeping like in the same room. And that made me collect positive experience over and over and over and over, that rewrote the experiences that I had. And I had a lot of negative ones. So it took a lot of positive ones to rewire my brain and to show me, hey, this is safe. And this is not only safe, this is beautiful, and this feels so good, and this is everything that you actually really desired and wanted. And so then after 6 months, I got my own apartment. Thankfully. Not own apartment, it's a shared apartment, but I got my like own room, my own space. And I was like, okay, thank you. But these relationships that I have built became really deep friendships with some of the people. And I also lived at a family house from our church, and like a family in their house. And it was so beautiful to see them and to be part of their like family for this time, and just connected deeply with them and the kids, and see them growing up in like such a good and healthy environment. It was just so beautiful, and it definitely like showed me more of what I desire for my children, for my husband, for my marriage. And so I really love that. And what I really learned is, or what I really had to learn, is that people are safe. And after years experiencing something else, that people were not safe, because that was my experience and that was true for the time that I was growing up. Um, it was really difficult for my brain to really understand it. And I'm definitely having understood it intellectually. And my brain is definitely rewired, and my nervous system as well. But I still have times where here and there I feel it coming up, and I feel it in my whole body. It feels like I'm dying. Like, bruh. But the cool thing is that I know that this is a physical reaction. I know that where it come from. I know how to regulate, and I know how to self-soothe or co-regulate. So if you want to know what the difference is between co-regulation and self-regulation, I made a whole video on it. So check this out. The link will be in the bio, or just find it on my page. It's not too far away. Yes, and so once I felt more safe with people, I could then really open up, because safety is the base ground we need in order to open up, and we need in order to receive love and to feel loved. So I never felt loved in my childhood, not because there was not love available and people didn't love me, but because I was so focused on surviving that I did not have the level of safety that it needs in order to receive the love that people are giving to me. So, and then everything turned around like quite fast. The beginning was very like heavy, but then my relationships just started to like bloom. It just really felt like that. And I also really understood that I am the cause of the not feeling connected in the relationships that I have. And I always felt like helpless about things like that, because for most of my life, I was not the cause, like in my intimate, like my closest relationship, that these relationships were looking like they are. And I could try to do everything and I couldn't change it because I was a child, because I was in the position that I was helpless. And I developed what is called learned helplessness. So I learned that I was helpless, and no matter how much I do, I can't like escape and make a difference. So at some point, you don't even try to make a difference anymore, because you knew, hey, I tried it 2,000 times, literally, over the decade of 20 years, and I couldn't change it. I probably can't change it right now, even though now you have the power to do it. And that's what I want you to ask yourself is, where do I desire change but think I can't do it? Write it down and then see, hey, what could I do to change it? What is in my power? I love, love, love to see what is in my control and what can I do. I took this out of the book Keep Your Love On from Denny Silk, and there was just one sentence, but it changed my life. Like, on good days, the only thing we can control is ourselves. That's what he said. We don't need to try to control others. We don't need to try to control circumstances. We can control ourselves. And that is so extremely freeing. And I have adapted that into my life, and it is so extremely life-changing. If you're interested in me making a whole video on that, because that is worth a whole video, then write it in the comments. I would be so glad to do it. It's extremely valuable. And made my life so much better, like so much better, extremely much better, 1,000 times better. Really, it's life-changing. So let me think about where we were. So then my relationship started to grow and bloom, and those relationships were a reflection of me. I started to open up. My heart started to open up. I started to feel safe. My whole, like, for the first time in my life, I was not living in a state of survival anymore. My body. So when I got this apartment, I definitely felt more security, because I did have a more secure base where I can always go to and know I'm safe. Which is not the case when you're thinking every single day, like, where am I going to live? Where am I going to get this? And all these things. So when I was here, then I invested a lot of time in just like doing inner work, and especially physical. So I already did a lot of inner work, like more like mentally, but all these things are in your body, right? So I really focused on doing exercises that help me release this energy from my body, because at this point I knew I am safe, I'm secure, everything will work out, but now just my body has to fully feel it and know it, and my heart has to like connect the dots. So that's why I'm such a big fan of it. I say it 100 times and I will say it another 100 times. Like, releasing emotions from your body is the key to everything, 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 everything. Because if we don't have what we want, it is because we don't feel safe to have it. Because something within us is pushing it away because we believe our survival is being threatened by the thing that we want. I 100% assure you, if you feel 100% safe in your body, in your heart, in your mind, and you're 100% aligned in getting the thing that you want, that is safe, secure, and not a threat to your survival, you will be able to have it easily. So let's get it out of the way. And also, like, the lightness I feel in my body is just so amazing. Like, being relaxed is just so good. That's why I'm unapologetic about resting and taking time for myself, because I know when I'm relaxed, I feel good and I'm taken care of and I take care of myself. I'm a better human being for the whole world. And that's what I want you to believe. Me taking care of myself, so you taking care of yourself, is serving the world, because I have more to give to others when I feel good. And the cool thing is, we don't inspire people and help them only by doing something for them, but by just being our best self and just by showing up in a good way. We inspire and we help people to make a difference in their life. I think that's so cool. I think that's so cool. And people mostly inspire me the most, not by what they say, but what they embody and how they live their life. And then I decide, hey, that's really cool. I would really like to adopt that. And then I either ask for advice or I just adopt it. So, yes, what else? What did I want to say? So, I think we had a dating rule in college. So, we were not allowed or not supposed to date for the first 6 months. That includes just meeting one on one with a person of the other sex. And in the beginning, I was like, okay, why do you tell me what to do? I really had a big problem with authority, so I was like, and now I think, or not only now, but even then while doing it, I was like, this is like the smartest thing ever, because the intent was that we take these first 6 months and really invest our time and energy to build our relationship with God and to heal our stuff, and then like be a more whole person, and then we were able to date and they have no problem with it. And I really like this concept, and I think it's really cool. So I found myself having then more time like spent with other like women, and it was so cool because I realized how fulfilling and how nurturing and how life-giving female friendships can be. So I am so thankful for the friendships that I have, and I'm so thankful for the skills of building new friendships that I built while doing that. I I thought it's like faith. You go to a new place and let's see who you're gonna end up being friends with. Making friends and connecting with people is a skill, and the cool thing is that we can develop skills. And I love that. I love that, and I definitely believe that relationships make up a huge amount of the quality of our lives. And I just have to say that just by the qualities of, by the quality of relationships that I have, I feel so much richer, I feel so much more abundant, I feel so much happier in my life because we are social creatures and we need other people. And if we are having harmonious and great and healthy relationships, it's definitely a life upgrade. And if it is something that you desire, then do the work. Do the work. Do the work. Yes. And if you would like to work together with me, I do offer private one-on-one coaching where I can help you with all the inner work, raising your self-worth, working on releasing emotions, being more in our feminine energy. So if you're interested, my email address is in the bio. It's feminineandrich.contact@gmail.com. I would be so happy if you write me an email and we can, find a spot and do it. I would love to work together with you and help and support you. So, back to the topic. Now I feel so happy that I have these great and amazing relationships and definitely a more secure attachment style, which is great. And yeah, so also, this is a side fact. Maybe I'm going to talk about more about this in the video about finances, but all fear around finances are actually fears around relationships. Spoiler alarm. It's just so mind blowing. I'm going to talk about this in the finance video, but this is something, just think about it, observe it, and then check out the next video. Is there anything else I want to say? I'm thinking. I think this was a great overview about, you just know a little bit more about my story and how I definitely raised my relationship skills and the levels of, just amazing friendships that I have. And at the end of the day, it's not like hard skills like Excel or, I don't know, managing your finances. It is 100% everything that's going on emotionally with you, your beliefs, and what's going on in your heart. And if your heart is open or closed, that's actually what's all the difference. So if you want like a 10-step guide, this is the relationship skill you need, that's not what I can give you with that. Just like with the stories and the ideas I planned into your mind while you listen to this, I think will already help you. As I said, if you desire one-on-one private coaching with me and you would like to work together with me, I would be so pleased. I would be so happy. I would love to help and support you with whatever you are. That's the advantage of like doing it one-on-one. We can just see, hey, what's your topics right now? Where do you need help? Where do you need support? And I can help you with that. I definitely have, a lot of good tools by hand that will help you and to achieve the desired results that you want. I would love to. My email address is in the description, so write me an email. I would be so pleased. And if you like this video, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. Write in the comments what was the key takeaway from this video. I would love to because I'd love to hear what you have to say because it just makes so much fun and so much personal to create these videos and to know that other human beings are actually listening to this and are learning something from it, which I would love to just hear and experience. I wish you a beautiful day and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye. Yun na yummy.